Hello there. Today I've come out to the beautiful Wyre Forest near Kidderminster. Just for a quick walk round with Betsy, and there is an area just down the bottom here past the Go Apes that I want to go and explore. Today I've got 5 tips for you how to improve your woodland photography. See you shortly. Just look at this up here. Absolutely incredible place if you've got kids. You want to come and have a good day out. This is all called Go Ape. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But it is amazing. Kids can have a fantastic time climbing. There's zip lines in here. Absolutely fantastic place. I've just got a little short walk now, just down to where I want to be. Betsy's off already. There's far too many scents in these woodlands. There's rabbits, there's deer in here. If you want red stags, this is the place to come. Just follow the tracks down as far as you can, and probably about half a mile, and there are quite a few herds of red stag in here. Absolutely gorgeous. So, tip number 1. Take a step back and have a look at what you've actually got round you. I'll just turn around quickly. As you can see, some of these pines are growing twisted. There's some good little roots. The moss covered on these roots here. It always pays before you get there, rather than just get the camera out and just start shooting. See something and shoot it. Take your time, just pause and have a look round. And just have a little walk. Have a walk through, look for your compositions, look what would be good. There's so much you can get photographs of. Just look at this. How stunning is that? Absolutely beautiful. There's another gnarly little tree just here. Beautiful little roots. There's a leading line. I might actually shoot a couple of little panoramas in here, or maybe just 16:9s. We'll come to that later. But for now, I'm going to do as my first tip suggests, and just have a walk around, spend 5-10 minutes in here, just this little wooded area just here, and have a look what I can find. Beautiful. So, tip number 2, Try not to shoot busy scenes where there's lots of branches and lots of bracken and brambles. If you look in the distance just there, for example, there are far too many branches, and because the camera shoots in 2D rather than 3D you can see through it, or you get dimension and everything. With the camera you don't, and it all blends into one big mess. So rather than shoot anything, it may look absolutely incredible to the eye, but when you get back home on the computer, especially on a big screen or you print it, you just see an enormous mess. So try to avoid things like that, and instead come to little areas like here where you have got separation between all the trees. Again, look for lovely shapes, look for lines, look for diagonals. This one here, again, straight away, you've got a big diagonal going there. From the other side it will look probably fantastic. You've got root structure for a leading line coming up to it. Again, this merges in with tip number 1. Just spend a few minutes looking round. When you see something, have a look then for shapes and lines and diagonals. It all helps. But the key is not to shoot where it's going to be too busy. If you can find something that's separated, you'll get far better photograph. If not, maybe shoot with a longer lens and get those intimate little details, intimate scenes. There's more to a woodland and a forest than the big picture. So tip number 3 is search for foreground attraction. It may just be something simple. Just pick this up. There are bits of dead branch. We've just had a big storm come through. Storm Arwen. So there are little branches and everything off all over the place. It could be ferns. The ferns are going over now. There are still a few about I can see. There are root systems, again like this. Where the camera is there's a root system with lovely green moss on. Maybe even incorporate that for a foreground, looking at the twist in this tree here. I am going to photograph this, and I am just walking around it looking for different foregrounds. It looks beautiful, and I think it will make a nice photograph. Obviously you're not going to get it all in, so this is where, again, change things around a bit and think outside the box. Maybe shoot panorama, maybe just shoot it as a 16:9. There are lots and lots of little compositions everywhere. You just need to learn to look for that little intimate scene, just a sole tree, a stump, just some roots, and then just work it. Importantly though, get a foreground. It will make the image so much nicer, and if you can use that foreground as a leading line straight up to your subject. So every image should have a subject as well. And the thing with leading lines, even shapes, let the shape or the line lead you straight to your subject. As a photographer, you're trying to get your viewers to look at a specific part of the picture, which is going to be your subject. And if you can get something in the foreground to direct them straight to your subject, they'll find it so much easier. Then they can search around and they can look and they can figure out, you know, beautiful foreground. Like how this just leads up to the subject. Your images will be loads better. I'm going to keep working this little scene here. There's another little tree just twisted with a stump next to it. All I want today really is 2 or 3 little compositions, just 2 or 3 photographs. But I am going to spend a couple of hours here Just trying to find something nice. As I say, there is lots of pine needles, little branches everywhere where the winds have fetched loads of little branches down from the top. We can probably use something like that. There's a lot of mess on the floor, which goes back to don't shoot messy scenes. Try and get a clean image if you can, but the nature of a forest, you have got branches down, you've got leaves everywhere, it can look quite messy. Turn the mess into something of beauty. So tip number 4 is what I call work all the angles. What I tend to do is I will take the camera off the tripod, or before I even set it up on the tripod, and I'll walk around, and when I find something, let's say like this, what I will do is a little bit awkward, shooting with the camera in one hand and the GoPro in the other, but I'll come down low and I'll just take a quick shot. And then I will come up, maybe even right above this, and I'll take a shot. And I'll continue to walk around, taking shots. You can see the camera there. We'll get this shot. And what I do, I will just, once I've found my compositions that I want to try and use, and I've got all the other little tips that I've just told you in place, I've done my recce and everything, and I will then get the camera out and just what I call work the angles, low down, high up, move a little bit to the left, move a little bit to your right, look for highlights, look for shapes, look for lines, and see which works. And then you can just literally just look at the back of your camera, have a look and think, yeah, that looks fantastic from low down, that looks fantastic from high up, and get your shots. It's a good little tip to do. The main thing is, once you start doing this and you come to a woodland area, or any area really, if you go to a beach and you've got rocks everywhere, just apply these tips to anything you shoot, and pretty much it'll work for everything. If let's say for instance you're just a seaside and you've got rocks everywhere, treat the rocks like you would these trees. So all these 5 tips will work on a seascape as well as for woodland and forests. It's just a case of just slowing everything down, slow your pace, and take time to take it all in, and keep looking around everywhere. Look for things rather than just think, oh, this is a fantastic little tree, I love the way it bends. Yeah, it's brilliant, and I am getting this photograph here now, and then I shall move around and apply all these 5 steps again to the next little location. I am going to check this one now where Betsy is there, and then there's this one here I'm going to work, and I'm going to grab this. There's a little stump behind it, so I'm hoping to incorporate the stump, plus you've got all the roots for leading lines. I might even set Betsy up on the stump and just get a photograph of Betsy on that stump there. New profile picture for Betsy. Then I shall have a walk through the forest a little bit more. It is a nice little area this. You've got autumn colour, which is pretty much gone now. The storm Arwen did fetch a lot of the leaves off. There is little bits about. The bracken's orange, the leaves on the floor are orange. There are little oaks in here. It is a pine forest, there are little oaks in here, so you've got the orange oak leaves on the floor, which look fantastic. You've got all the dead fall, which again looks brilliant. Doesn't always transpire to a good photograph, but while you're out here, take it in, just enjoy it, enjoy what you're doing. The main thing, get out and get some photographs, be part of nature. So tip number 5, and this is quite important in woodland area and forests, It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Sun doesn't set till 4 o'clock, so it's a cloudy day, so it's the brightest part of the day. But because you've got such a big canopy, your shutter speeds are going to be really slow. My preferred settings are usually f8, f11 because I want a sharp image. I will shoot ISO 100 because I want grain free. I usually shoot manual when I come into woodlands and forests, although I do shoot aperture a lot. And I get people, you know, just moaning, why do you shoot aperture? Only professionals shooting manual, and I'm like, learn your camera. Learn what it does. Learn the difference between aperture priority, manual, shutter priority. You know, if you're shooting something moving fast, motorsports, whatever, you can either shoot manual or you can shoot in shutter priority. It's entirely up to you. But when I come to dark areas like this, because you have got a lot of highlights, like if you look at this tree here now, right on top of the branch where the light is coming through the canopy, you've got a big highlight there. The times like this where you've got to be careful you don't blow these highlights out. So what I tend to do is I will shoot in manual and I will set the aperture and the ISO to what I want, and then I will use the shutter speed to balance the exposure. Whereas normally you're looking to get on the light meter to 0 to get a good balanced exposure. If you get speculative highlights like this, you may need to underexpose just slightly, just so they're not blown out and you've got detail still in the bark. So yeah, I'll just try and show it on the back of the camera quickly. The camera is set up in manual mode. I'm going to turn into live view. Let me just show you how I would work this. So this is the composition. I'm just going to try and show you the base settings that I'm using at the moment. As you can see, I'm at f8, which comes up just down there. The exposure meter at the moment is on 0, and as you can see, the highlights on the tree are quite bright. So what I would do here is just underexpose, 0.7 of a stop, almost 1 stop, which gives me a shutter speed of 1.3 seconds at f11. And although the tree does look a little bit dark, but you've got to remember it is in shade, so maybe just come back a fraction there, and then what I would do is just take that shot. I will just take the shot just to show you. I probably won't use this image because it's quite boring, but as you can see there, if we just zoom in, you've got this highlight on the tree. The tree itself there's still detail there, so you can recover this quite easily in Lightroom or Photoshop. But as you can see, the highlight isn't blown out. If we look at the histogram, let me just turn that off and turn the histogram on. We're just about touching on the right hand side for the highlights. So it's a nice balanced scene. We're not touching on the right, so we're not burning the blacks out either. And just use your software just to pull the shadows back, and it will be a beautiful image. But the key is not to blow out the highlights on the right hand side. So back to tip number 5, and that is use your tripod. As you can see, sturdy tripod. Please don't do what a lot of people do, and that is have the camera mounted and they'll pick it up and they'll be holding the camera and taking a photograph, or just resting on one leg. Set the camera down, set it up level so it's not going to fall over anywhere. It's balanced, it's sturdy. But because you have got such long exposures, like for this shot is going to be a 1.3 second exposure, you can't really handle this. It doesn't matter who you are, you will move, there will be movement there. So mount your tripod, set a 2-second timer, that could be tip number 6. Always use 2-second timer, especially with long exposures, because you don't want any movement on the camera while you're taking the exposure. So I always set a 2-second timer. I'll touch the shutter button, come away, 2 seconds, you get the shot. It's always blur free. So yeah, sturdy tripod. Tip number 5. I'm now going to get off and find some compositions, and I'll talk you through a couple. So here's my first composition, and what I'm loving about this shot is the gnarly root system. And what I'm going to do, my settings are, I'll just put them on. I'm shooting at f11. I am underexposed, just a third of a stop, which is giving me a 2-second exposure. So the shutter speed is 2 seconds. It does look a little bit bright, but I can always underexpose that in Photoshop if I need to. The photograph itself looks quite nice. I'm loving the gnarly little roots. It looks almost like an alien's foot. I love the way the tree curls up at a diagonal angle from the bottom right hand corner up towards the top left. I'm not a fan of the big lump of brambles. There's not a lot I can do about it, but I do love the detail in the root system on this tree. So this is going to be my first shot. Two-second timer, 2-second exposure, and there it is. So here's my next composition. It's another little tree, another little gnarly pine tree. It was a beautiful little root system on it. What I'm doing with this, I've lined up the tree on the left just to balance the image out. The tree, the main subject, is running on a full diagonal from bottom left up to top right. So to balance the image, I've just positioned myself round to get that tree in front there to help balance this part of the scene up. It is very bright, it's a bright scene. The settings for this, again, f11, I'm shooting at ISO 100, and as you can see there, I am just over 1 stop underexposed and shooting at 2 seconds. I am going to focus stack this as well, because the root system is right underneath the lens down here. I should focus as low down as I can there, and 2 seconds and we'll take the shot. And then my next exposure is going to be right on top of the roots, maybe down a little bit. Again, 2 seconds and we'll take the shot. And then because the tree goes in, I'm going to focus, when the camera comes on, right in the farthest point of the tree, which is there. Actually, it's probably there. If you do want to make sure you have got focus, hit the zoom button and you can zoom right in, and then if you wish you can just manually focus, so you've got perfect detail right in there where you want to be, and then take the shot. A good little tip, if you're not sure about the focus system on your camera, is focus and then hit the zoom button and zoom in on the area where you want focused. And if it doesn't look quite sharp, with this trunk here, the bark is quite deep and there's little pine needles in between. So just by zooming in, you can get the pine needles sharp and the image itself looks sharp. And then the last shot is going to be the tree coming off up here. And it will all be in focus. Betsy has just jumped straight up. This was going to be a composition. As you can see, Betsy loves to get in the shot. Oh, little baby just fell over. So when I get Betsy's attention, I'll take this shot. And then when she jumps down eventually, she loves to pose. She absolutely loves to pose. Look at her. She will just stand absolutely perfect for me for hours. There's a little star. Betsy is an absolute star. I'm sure she loves the camera. Say hello, Betsy. Sure loves the camera. Hey, mate. So this shot here, I am shooting as a 16:9. It is literally just to get the light out of the trees. There's a lot of light coming through, as you can see, just a little bit there. Again, settings that just f11. It's a 2-second exposure. I'm 1 stop underexposed. ISO 100 for the grain-free shot. Again, I will focus stack this. I'm literally just going to focus on this stump. Take the shot. And then I will focus on the tree and take the shot. And I'll just blend these two images together in Photoshop. So that's me done for today. I've had literally almost 3 hours in here. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pack my camera gear away. I've got my jet ball with me, so I'm going to make me a cup of tea while I'm here, and I've got a bench. I do like my jet boil. It's a fantastic little thing. If you come out, especially when it starts getting cold now through the winter, it's nice just to relax, have a nice cup of tea, fresh cup of tea, or coffee if you're that way inclined, and just take in everything that's around you. Just look at this. It's absolutely peaceful. There's no one here. There were 2 women with a little baby come walking past, and they're the only people I've seen in almost 3 hours. I've got the entire place to myself. Beautiful here, beautiful. There are still little bits of colour. I'm not going to bother with them today. I just want to give you the 5 tips for getting better woodland photography. All I've done today is just put on just 2 trees really in this entire woodland. It's stunning. I would give me left arm for some fog in here. It would probably give a kidney for fog today. It's beautiful in here and how peaceful it is. No one about. Betsy's legged it. Has just seen a rabbit and she's just gone. So yep, I'm going to make me a cup of tea. There's a link in the description below for the jet ball, the drone, the camera gear, everything I use. There are links below in the description. If there's anything you want to see on videos, just drop me a comment below and I will do a video for you. So here are the photographs, and until next time, give me a big thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. Take it easy.